Everyone today. I really take the time and appreciate you coming out in your lunch to come down and see the session today. Today, we are looking at leveraging Microsoft Teams to deliver instructor-led training. Just a quick show of hands. How many of you use Microsoft Teams? Wow, that's pretty much, I think, 90% of people here. How many of you are trainers or educators within your business? And that's a lot too, so hopefully this is going to add to your Ignite experience. So out of this short session today, I want to focus on three things. The first are traditional pain points associated with instructor-led training. I also want to look at the benefits of Microsoft Teams for the trainer and the benefits of Microsoft Teams for the learner. It's important that when we do our training, that both the trainer and the learner benefit. Now, any questions today? I'll be hanging around in the theater afterwards. Please come and see me. I'd love to talk to you about it more. So let's dive right in. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, which means that I typically train customers, partners, and internally within the business. And before I actually worked in IT, I was a secondary school teacher as well in the UK. Now, when I taught or when I trained, traditionally, there are a number of problems associated with in-person training. Let's start out by looking at these. The first is dispersed content. When I did my training, I'd have all my files on a USB or on my local machine or on a file server. They were scattered all over the place, which meant that the learning experience was very fragmented and learners did not achieve what they wanted to through the learning. There was a lot of frustration that they had to pinball around between these resources. The same applied with multiple applications and workspaces. I used to have learners go between several apps or browser sessions or back onto their local machines, which made it a very confusing and conflated experience in order to be able to do that. The third point is the narrow assessment. When I used to perform instructor-led training, I just ended up with a short test at the end of the day. There was no formative assessment involved. The fourth is that we used to see learning as an event. People would turn up on the day and the whole of the training and learning would take place within the actual day itself. They'd turn up, they'd go, and then we would never speak to each other again. And the fifth is what we used to call in teaching chalk and talk. I used to stand there, I used to talk, others used to listen, and there was no actual interaction at all during the course of the day. All these things were pain points which led to ineffective learning and training. So I want to bring this back to the numbers because this can be an emotive conversation. If you look at Pearson's View report on the value of IT certification, there was a part of that study which said about returning learners and what they would do within the next 12 months. And if we compared ILT with online courses, then ILT was much lower. This was only at 59% compared to 76% for the online courses. So that meant that people weren't as satisfied with ILT than they were with online courses. So there seemed to be a lot of benefits about doing it online than coming back and doing it in person. We ourselves saw this number, so we decided to incorporate Microsoft Teams as a delivery mechanism for our ILT. And these are the results that we've had so far this year. I have delivered 22 Microsoft Fundamental courses over the UK and Ireland in the last year. Out of that, the rating across those 22 courses were 8.8 out of 9 using Metrics That Matter, which is the official tool for evaluating MCTs. And this is the statistic that's the most interesting. 4 or 5 would return to do ILT training. So instead of that 60% or 3 and 5, we're now seeing 4 and 5 because of the better experience that they're getting through Microsoft Teams. Now, how exactly does it do that? I'm going to go and run over the points now. So the first, Teams is a hub for trainers and learners. As the trainer, I can put all of the resources that I need into Microsoft Teams. I can put all my PowerPoints, all my Word documents, all my Excel sheets. But I can go far beyond this. I can put in exercises. I can do assessment with forms. I can do join-in instructions, again through forms. I can do location maps with Bing. And the benefits for the trainer in this is that it's a unified learning space. I can put all my materials. There's one place which I actually have to go to. It's very focused and it increases my productivity, but it's also accessible and simple. And the same benefits for the learner here is that they have one place in order to go to, one place for all their learning materials, all their exercises, and all their assessments. Now, if we look at what that looks like, in the top right-hand corner, that is all my files in the Files tab. In the top right, that's a web tab linking back to the exam, which then can link through the exam and the learning materials. In the bottom right, that's a typical registration form that we use with Microsoft Forms. And on the left, there's that integration with Bing Maps so that they can actually get to the learning. Now, they can do that all through one team and in one channel. Everything is there for them. This is a massive benefit than having to pinball between these different applications or places where the resources are. The second is that Teams enables multimodal learning. I've been talking about this chalk and talk and only using PowerPoint. Well, we can go way beyond this. We can start using videos with Microsoft Stream. We can start using analytics with Power BI or using custom applications. We can use third-party applications such as the InVision whiteboard, or even start using video calling in our instruction to give it a more interactive feel. Now, for the trainer, this means that it's a more creative process. It keeps us interested in the learning, which means and leads to better learning. It means that we can personalize to account for people's learning styles, but it also means that our training is becoming much more inclusive. And the benefits to the learner is that we are embracing them, we are including them. The training is going to reach them far much more than them just sitting and looking at a PowerPoint or death by PowerPoint. The third is about this idea of assessment, and Teams facilitates both summative and formative assessment. Now, we need to understand the differences between these two terms. Summative assessment is when we evaluate the learning of the learners. We can do this in exams and tests and quizzes, and we can do that with forms and Power Apps within Microsoft Teams. But we can also do formative assessment. This is evaluating learning to improve our teaching. And we can use apps like Poly for polls, or we can use Microsoft Forms, or we can even create an app through Power Apps. Now, the benefits for this is that we are now going into assessment for learning, which what that means is that in every delivery that I do of fundamentals courses, I'm consistently pulling feedback from learners to optimize the content for a better delivery next time. Better content and continuous improvement. They can expect a better performance each and every time that I do this. And for the learner, it's optimized content. It's being reviewed constantly. It's being pulled from all the feedback that's given from all the learners prior to this course. That's the third. The fourth is making it easy to onboard learners. I can set up my team weeks in advance of the learning even taking place. This is a very simple three-step process. The first is that we deploy the team, we build the team with all the resources that we need, and then we invite the users as guests to the team. Now, we did a time and motion study, and with the resources already in place, it took 20 minutes to set up that team and all the resources into it. And once that is done and it has started, 90% of the learners that were actually going to attend were there. It's a very small yield that gets turned over. So for us, we have that benefit of setting it up way in advance. We can start conversations and our collaboration and all the prerequisite tasks in Teams weeks before the actual learning even takes place. So we can create this run-up period. It's a very much more earlier engagement. For the learner, they have early access to the materials, they can perform their prerequisites, they can do their prior learning before the day has even occurred. But it also gets their buy-in too, because they've started early, they will attend, they will come along and complete. The fifth is about, we looked at the prior, now we're looking at post-ILT. We're moving away from learning being an event. We're moving away from it happening on a single day. And guess what? We can have chats afterwards, we can use the wiki, we can have meetings, and we can have calls. I can have follow-up with learners if they feel anxious about taking an exam. I can do exam cram sessions afterwards. There's less pressure to complete the learning all in a single day. But when we are measuring the feedback from learners over the course of a few weeks as opposed to a single day, we're getting much greater feedback than we would do just in the case of the event. It also creates an enhanced relationship between the trainer and the learner too. Which means if you start to understand the learner, then you can start personalizing all your content to them. For the learner, they are really happy with this because they have continued support, they have a sense of community that builds up, but we can achieve the best thing at all. That's when they can start collaborating together on their own learning. And the learners become teachers too. And so there's a greater dynamic that's going on between learners than if they just all met up and left on the day. Finally, Teams allows for the virtualization of IT. So what that means is that we don't have to necessarily do this in person anymore. We can use the meetings functionality, which we use share screen and shared system audio to be able to do this remotely. We can pipe up with the shared system audio videos through Microsoft Teams, and we can also use the live events feature. Now, for both the trainer and the learner, this has reduced the travel, reduced the cost, and it gives everyone a better work-life balance too. Just to return to the outcomes, we've identified our traditional ILT pain points. We've identified 6 benefits for the trainer and 6 for the learner. Let's bring it all together. Microsoft Teams brings those trainers and learners together for a much longer interaction, a much richer interaction. Trainers and learners are natural teams. Teams is a modern learning space. We're eliminating our traditional pain points and we're giving a much more inclusive and personalized experience. The call to action is to start today. Start using Teams for delivering your training. Engage with the education and the Microsoft Learn community and support user voices to continue making Microsoft Teams a better application for delivering your training. Here's a few sessions that you can catch at Ignite either during the conference or later on. Please visit us at Microsoft Learn and please visit us at the Microsoft Team booth. The final thing is to download and read the statistics yourself. Continue to find out more. Continue to connect with me on LinkedIn or Twitter. I'll be happy to do a personal consult to show you how I'm actually physically doing this on a day-to-day basis within the team space. In the meantime, I would like to thank you ever so much for attending today. Again, you've done so during your lunch, and I can't believe how many people have shown up for this. It is just been a fantastic experience, so thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.